Each and every podcast of the Optimize You studio is sponsored by Optimize You Evansville. At Optimize You Evansville, we help you take control of your health, performance, and vitality through cutting-edge hormone optimization, peptide therapy, athletic recovery, weight loss, and sexual health solutions. Whether you're an athlete looking to maximize recovery, someone striving for sustainable weight loss, or just looking to feel like your best self again, we used advanced diagnostics and personalized treatment plans to get you there. Our science-backed approach helped optimize energy levels, mental clarity, muscle recovery, and overall well-being. Because feeling great isn't optional, it's essential. You ready to elevate your potential? Let's get started today at Optimize You Evansville, where normal is not optimal.
49 years old. Some would call it too late to start, but you weren't chasing a timeline. You were building something bigger. This wasn't about proving people wrong. It was about proving something to yourself. You didn't take shortcuts. You didn't ask for favors. You earned every ounce of what you've built. This isn't about trophies. It's about the process, the discipline, the decision to start, and the grit to keep going. You're not done. This is just the beginning of the next chapter.
Thanks for giving me Dakota Memorial clap there. Winging it alone. Sonny's at the board tonight, so he's good. So, Chase Sutton.
Yes, sir.
Host of the Sutton Sanctuary podcast.
I am.
What episode are you on now?
We are on number 33 will be the next one.
Nice.
So
very cool.
we just did 32 Sunday evening.
Very cool. So I kind of, everything is listening. So, whenever I was first looking at to start doing this, I was, typed in, who's doing podcasts around. There's a few of them, a lot of them are like, what's going on around town, that kind of thing, but, kind of just the people ones, kind of introducing who's around and what's going on and, the unsung heroes of the tri-state kind of thing. And, you popped up, heard your name mentioned a couple times and then watched it and then got to be a guest on there. So tell us what started Sutton Sanctuary.
So starting back, it was last October, I think it was, whenever we did the first episode. At that time, I had gotten sober. I was 6 to 8 months into my sobriety journey at that time, drying up from drinking.
Okay.
And I had a lot of people reaching out, a lot of support, people asking about, people started reaching out to me and Briley about issues that they were having in their relationships as far as drinking, that kind of thing. And so the more I thought about it, I was like, instead of just, messaging these people, maybe we could, me and you could start a podcast and kind of talk about how my addiction, my struggle with alcohol affected not just myself, but our marriage and how that can look in a marriage, whenever you're not just talking about one person, but, a whole family and, because it was a long journey. As far as that goes. So that was kind of the motivation at first, was just to share what we'd went through together. As a young married couple that had trouble with one of the partners drinking and how we kind of overcame that. At the time, I was, depressed, real anxious. I wasn't getting out, socializing, putting myself out there. I was pretty secluded. So another reason I wanted to start the podcast was kind of a way to put myself back out there and force myself to get back out, have these interactions, build these connections after just so much time of being secluded. So, but the main reason I think was at the beginning was just to share that side of the, our sober journey with me and my wife.
So in any of this can be edited out or whatever it is you want to do as far as open book. So so how old are you now?
27.
27. So how long did you drink for?
Pretty consistent, like really consistently since I was 16.
Okay.
Probably started dabbling in it, as young as 6th grade, 6th, 7th grade. by the time before I was going into my freshman year of high school, like I had smoked pot, done cocaine, all before the time I was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
So yeah, I got started in that pretty early. Now I didn't have, the drug stuff was kind of like dabbling, maybe wrong place, wrong time, that kind of thing, not really sought out until later on,
Okay.
until I got older. But yeah, the drinking, it was pretty early, probably like 14, 15, whenever that started. And by the time I was 16, I mean, it was, 4 or 5 nights a week as like a 16, 17-year-old. So yeah, kind of on that wild side.
Sure.
From a young age. Yeah.
Well, and then I'm guessing progressed into the 20s, and when it got readily available to you as you come of age or whatever, then it just peaks. Huh?
Yeah, and it's kind of, I don't know, maybe not funny, but you don't realize that you have that problem until you try to stop, and it was just like so normal for so long, and that was one of the harder things at the beginning, was like trying to let the ego down a little bit, and maybe be like, okay, wait, maybe I do have an issue, because I'm a prideful person, and that can be a good thing and a bad thing sometimes, just depending on what you're talking about. But
yeah, I mean, what I've spoken with people before that have had this is that you've lived in a completely different reality. You're the world exists on a different,
for sure,
a foggier level than what it's really there on.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things. You're trying to learn to cope, and you're trying to learn to deal with things. Whenever things would come up in your life, you could numb it with the booze or whatever it was. And now you're trying to deal with life without that sort of substance to take you away from it. And that shock, I think like the first couple of months was pretty rough. I'm not even realizing how much I had been using the substance to just numb everything for so long. And now it's just the smallest thing set you off or whatever it was.
Just it had a nice lubricant to it before, right?
Yeah.
When you was there a decision to get sober, a conscious one, or was it what was the catalyst to chase sobriety?
So the whole, I guess, turning point was it kind of just got to a point where excuse me, me and Briley and my wife started to notice, like, every time we were drinking, there was a fight. We didn't have disagreements or fights or arguments unless there was alcohol involved. And that was like the first thing that we noticed. So we were both like, okay, let's take a step back. We were going to quit drinking, just for a little bit, just step away, that kind of thing. Which was good for 3, 4, 5 months. I could always string together 5, 6 months. It wasn't until this last time that I actually got over 6 months. It seemed like by the time 6 months came around, it was just, that's where it seemed like I would trip up or something would happen. So
did you feel like you could reward yourself with one at that time?
At first, at the very beginning, that's kind of how it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I went 6 months without, and now we're good. Let's try again.
Right.
And every time ended in disaster. Yeah. Every time.
Yeah, we talk a lot I talk a lot professionally and personally with people about kind of bullshitting yourself.
Yeah.
So you're like, man, I made it 6 months.
Yeah.
Let's go celebrate our 6 months by completely blowing it all to hell, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you look at it in that context, it's like, oh yeah, what did I do that for? So
yeah, it was funny. We were around that 6 month mark probably, and we went on a vacation to Mexico. And whenever we made the decision to go, we were going with another couple, and we both said, we were like, we're not going to drink. We had all inclusive, mainly just for food and that kind of thing. We didn't have any plan to drink. Well, we got there, and after a couple of days went by, I'm starting to throw around ideas like, well, maybe we could have some drinks.
Sure.
One day, we're in Mexico. And so we ended up having some drinks, which turns into me blacked out before dinner, probably 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and waking up the next day and with that same feeling. I rolled over in bed and Riley's already awake on her phone, just laying there. and just that feeling of like, I did it again. You know, I did it again. And I think after that trip, it's kind of where it started to set into me. I was like, oh, this might be a problem. Like, you know, it might be more than just me saying I'm going to stop drinking, you know? So.
And did you, when you decided to go to start that quest, I like the word quest instead of journey a lot of times, because this is hell, right? I mean, this is not, people say the word journey a lot of times like we're floating through things, you know, this is a quest. There's going to be dragons and you know, dangers around every corner, right? You know? So whenever you started that, was there something that did you engage any kind of professional help? Did you seek out other things or support groups? Any kind, what resources did you use to get that going?
So at the very beginning, I did, I spent a couple of days in a detox facility.
Okay. Like an inpatient treatment facility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Checked in there. My parents took me over, checked in there, stayed in there a couple of days. And that was really the first time where I started, like kind of speaking to really anyone about it. At this time, I was still pretty, maybe still stubborn to the fact that I kind of had this problem going on. And I, you know, there was a part of me that wanted to believe that I could eventually still get a hold of it. Or like I was still in control of it. And so I went there, met with a therapist there. That was whenever I got started on medication, a couple anti-anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. Went that whole route, went with the medication. I got out of there. They got me connected with 2 or 3 different AA groups in the area that I started going to. I think I was going 4 or 5 nights a week at the beginning, quite often. And then I did therapy for a little bit. I wasn't much of a therapy guy. Not to hate on it, you know, I'm sure there's people, it's fantastic. I'm, you know, nothing against it. I just think for me personally, it wasn't, I kind of got to the point where I was like, I feel like I've kind of put everything out there and I'm not like ignorant to the fact of what's going on, you know? So it's like me coming in here every week or whatever and revisiting this stuff. I feel like it's kind of almost teetering on the line of like negatively impacting me instead of sort of just moving on. Yeah. So
you're not processing it in a positive manner. It's not one of those things that you feel like this is helping you on your quest.
Yeah. I like to feel like I'm someone to move through things and to get through things. I need to feel them like deeply, you know, which normally, you know, it used to be I would spend days in just like kind of isolation, and I've gotten better about that now, you know, instead of just taking days, now it maybe a couple hours where I kind of just have to be by myself, feel it, process it, and get through it. And then once I get through it, I feel like there's no reason for me to really go back to it, you know? And if I move past it and I hadn't covered everything or hadn't processed it yet, well, that's kind of my fault. Like I should, you know? So, yeah, I'm not bashing on the therapy or anyone that does it. It just
works for some people, just like anything else, right? You know?
Yeah. Once I kind of put it all out there, I was like, I know what is wrong.
Gotcha. So at your worst, what were you doing?
Well, I went through, as far as the drinking goes, at the end, it was definitely the worst it had ever been. The last month to like the last 2 weeks is where it got to the point. It was, you know, drinking. Well, the last couple of weeks, there were times I was drinking whenever I would get up, waking up hungover, feeling terrible, and having a bottle of whiskey or going and getting the shooters from Casey's that they set up there by the cash register. And I could go get, you know, 4 or 5 of those and cram those down real quick and feel like I was back to myself again. You know, before it had been drinking to like escape and to do into whatever it was. And then like at the end, like I said, those last like 3 weeks, I was realizing that it was like, I didn't feel normal unless I was drinking. And that was like a really crazy realization that I kind of had. Like I said, probably a month before I quit for good that last time, I had that realization. I was like, if I hadn't drank all day, by the time like 2 o'clock came around, I was feeling very weird and almost like I couldn't focus. I was like, it was really strange. Nothing I had really noticed before.
I mean,
it's no different than the drugs, the the pain pills, all that kind of stuff too.
Sure.
You just exist on a different plane than
Yeah.
everybody else. Your brain is processing all the stimulus different.
Yeah.
And you get used to that over a long period of time, and you don't know how to cope with it afterwards. So what do? You go, I want to get back to where this was at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I could, there at the end, I could get off and, living in Illinois before I lived here in Illinois, and the Walmarts over there, it's like over in Carmine where I lived at, they don't sell booze in the Walmart. You have to go to the liquor store or the gas station. Well, living over there, I couldn't go and do that because I wasn't supposed to be drinking. And, my wife, sees all the accounts and the charges. And so, I couldn't really go to the liquor store or whatever. Well, over here, the Walmart sell liquor. So I could lie and say I needed to go to Walmart, get groceries or whatever it was, or I needed to stop here after work. And really it was just another bottle of whiskey, and I could drink it in the parking lot before I would go home just to feel normal. So I could walk in and feel like I was normal.
Yeah. And so, functional is probably the wrong word, but you were functional at the time. I mean, you were, your breath smells of it, your eyes may look like it, but you're upright walking and functioning and doing all the things.
Yeah. Until, even that heavy of drinking, there was never, like the blackouts weren't really like a normal thing. It was just like, I'd done it for so long, that it was, and at the end I was trying to hide it. So it was like, I can't be like unconscious, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So
there was a point of like a self-realization that you were like, man, what am I doing? Which is always better than many alternatives that people experience their forced sobriety or whatever, So whenever you decided to start doing Sutton Sanctuary, it's almost like hey, we've done this. We probably have a message to give out to people. Let's do this. But it's grown since then. It's not, there's some element of that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But
I hope so.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. I had a great time on it, and just, and we kind of bleed over on top of each other with some topic stuff because, I think your goal is to say, hey, we've been through this. People go through some shit, for lack of better terms,
no doubt.
And there's no book on it. There's no, I couldn't write down what's gone through my life and tell you how to get through it. I just tell you what I experienced, and this is what I did. And if it helps people, great. If if it inspires something else, then go for it. So, and I think your story is pretty similar. So
yeah, that's what I kind of said at the beginning. And especially whenever you're first getting sober, you deal with a lot of, or at least I did. I dealt with the imposter syndrome. Oh yeah. I didn't want.
It gets brought up on here a lot.
Yeah, I didn't want people thinking that this was some sort of like look at me tactic or like I needed your attention because I went through something hard.
Right.
It was never, even whenever I think about looking back at the times that I was drinking, I've never really been upset at what I was doing to myself. There's like the part of me that felt like I deserved it, it was what I had done to everybody around me. That's what bothered me. The people that I had hurt, the people that I had, excuse me. Sorry. The people that were still in my corner for whatever reason. Those are the people that I hurt for and, that bothered me the most. So whenever I started, I didn't want people to think that it was like a, look at how shitty my life got and look at me now. It was just, I just wanted anyone that may have been in a similar position finding themselves struggling because we're, over there in Carmine, North City, like where we come from, where we moved over here from, it's a lot of drinking, especially from a young age. I'm not the only one from that area that has those kinds of issues. It's not a cool thing over there to talk about, being sober, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Over there, the cool thing is that, the drinking on the weekends, and, I'm not hating on it. The people that can do it and not have an issue with it, that's great.
Yeah.
But it is kind of like the cooler thing, I guess you could say, to do over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily categorize it into like not cool what we're doing or what you're doing,
Yeah.
It's a more of a, hey, I did it. I recognized there was that I had a problem with it. I understand, just like kind of you thought about with therapy. I know that works for some people. It works for all different kinds of situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not for me.
Yeah.
Drinking on the weekend is fine. You can do
Sure.
that, and they do it socially, and it's a nice social lubricant, and people enjoy it. And hey, all power to you. Do it safe. Be safe. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt anybody else. Some people can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I definitely couldn't do that. It's really interesting, and I think I don't know if you follow Zach Talander. I can't remember what his name is. He's like a fitness guy, coaches some comedians, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And he's got some good content, but he was just making a comment how he hadn't drank in a couple weeks. I don't know, it'd been a while, and like he didn't have a problem, anything like that. He was like, I've just been so busy doing things that I care about and that I love more that like I just don't have time. And he's like, I just find that to be really interesting. He's like, I used to make time to go out of my way to go out or do these kinds of things. And it was like 9 o'clock or something. He was getting ready to go on a run. And that sort of thing, I feel like is starting to see a little more mainstream, the sobriety thing.
Sober life,
the cleaning up, the healthy lifestyle, which is awesome to see. And I feel like it's become the more norm, hopefully. But I just thought that was like the way he was talking about it, and just, he's like, I'm not trying to not drink. He's like, it's just weird. He's like, I'm at a place in my life where I found so many things that fulfill me more that he's like, he's like, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
He's like,
there's a lot more things to do nowadays, because I'm 49, so I graduated class of 94.
Okay.
Wasn't a whole lot to do in high school, and I was very fortunate enough to have an incredible group of friends that were, we all did that stuff.
Sure.
It was there. We would go to the same places where it happened. Some of us did it more than other ones, but none of us really, or none of my circle, we all turned out pretty good, Some people don't, some people aren't with us anymore because of that, because I'm at that age now, unfortunately, I think there's a lot more things to do now than drive out on the country roads and find an old abandoned barn and get hammered and start a fire and all that stuff,
Right.
So we exchange things from time to time, but as long as you pick the healthier one or the one that's more positive in your life, then hey, it's great. That's kind of that's a win.
Yeah, most definitely.
And definitely when you start getting focused on things like podcasts and what you want to do and how you wanted to create it and be all these kinds of things, it's a whole other place to go to.
Oh yeah.
And you can't do that.
No.
You better be sober when you're doing it, right? Yeah, because
you have to have your full attention.
Yeah.
The very beginning, I was really stressed out about it at first, as far as that goes. But now that I've kind of got things rolling, it's, not that I didn't really enjoy it at the beginning, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
More now that I'm kind of settling into it.
Yeah. There's definitely a settling into it point, right?
Yeah.
That's why whenever we first started it, I have a buddy, Scott, that does it with me, and we just like, hey, let's just start with just talking to each other. You talk to me, I'm going to talk to you. And let's just work out some kinks and see how it goes.
Yeah.
We had one that we talked for, and it was almost 3 hours long. And we try to keep it, kind of keep attention span, commute time, kind of things.
I was worried about that too. Kind of at first, I was like,
right, yeah.
I see these podcasts where these guys go for 3-4 hours, and I'm like, how do they do that?
Yeah.
And then like after the third one, it was, where it's an hour in, and I felt like we hadn't even really got started. And I was like, oh, wow, this, it's really
right,
it's really not that bad. And I think something I've like mentioned on my podcast was just, people want to talk about themselves more than they like to admit. There's not really a lot of people that don't. Once maybe it takes a little bit to kind of crack them open and get them to start talking. But most people, once you start asking them about themselves and they start rolling and,
Yeah.
telling, people like to share.
Well, and they have permission to, right? Like
And
that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn about Chase Sutton.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I want to know about that, what started you, what motivates you and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, please gloat on,
Yeah.
paint yourself however you want to, although people get in trouble for that too, apparently, recently, So, yeah, I think that when you look at the, the, what people call the, the dying news kind of thing, does anybody watch national news anymore? Well, like my parents do, like my grandparents did, Fox News and MSNBC and CNN all day long, but we don't. Our generation definitely doesn't. I watch the local news every morning. And I get up about 5 o'clock every morning, turn on the local news while I'm meeting.
See what's going on in town.
Yeah, just and just listen to the weather or watch about see if there's any event coming on that you want to go to that sounds cool or whatever. But outside of that, I mean, it's podcasts.
Yeah.
So and everybody's got one. So
well, it's the podcast being you're independently owned and you don't have loads of higher ups like these news stations controlled by all these different huge companies that they're the ones that and then you can get into the whole they've been pushing narratives this and that then you can't really blame the people that you're watching on the TV because they're just being told what to say and they're being given this piece of paper and say report on this and if you want a job, that's how it's going to have to go.
Right.
Whereas this kind of thing is,
we don't have advertisers or anything like that we have to plug or put in. Although if somebody wants to throw somebody, we'll
absolutely. I'll throw anyone in there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But so what is the plan? What's the plan going forward with that? So would you just kind of just keep on keeping on?
Yeah. Keep on keeping on. We're, still trying to have guests come on and doing that whole thing that, it's been really good. I've connected, I've reconnected with people that I haven't seen in a long time or haven't talked to in a long time. And if I hadn't started the podcast, I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I would have reached out or rekindled this or that or whatever it is. And so that's kind of been my favorite part, just getting back in touch with certain people. And even I've reached out to people that, some buddies that didn't have too much interest being on the podcast, but just because of like reaching out, now we're like I text them for an hour and catch up, and that kind of thing. And all of that whole community thing, like I said, for me is important coming from someone that back, years ago was like life of the party and, had a big circle of people and, which turns into, the last 3 years of just kind of self-isolation and seclusion. And now I'm, that community getting back out there, reaching out again. And
Did you self-isolate because of the drinking, or did you self-isolate because you knew that if you went back into that circle, that's all you would do? So you kind of did it anyway, right?
Yeah. No, it was pretty much just to drink.
Sure, drink. Okay.
Yeah.
So did your social group, was that a problem in your social group? Did everybody just kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone, all of my buddies were drinking and doing that kind of thing. And, that's another hard thing too. Kind of looking back at it now, some of these people that, whenever you get sober and you cut people off or you don't talk to them and, you never want them, to think that it's their fault or whatever it is, but having to make that decision to kind of separate yourself and put that distance, between you and some of the people that you may be closest to. And in the hopes that they don't take that personal.
Sure.
And in the hopes that that they understand that, it's not a dig at them or anything that they got going on, but just like for myself, this is what is necessary for me right now.
Right. Right. And you just keep your fingers crossed that relationship can continue in some positive manner.
Of course. And I've got solid people around me. A lot of my buddies that I still talk to, which I've never, I've had 3 or 4 buddies that I talk to consistently, probably maybe even just 2 to 3, not very many. Those are the relationships though, where it's like, what's already understood doesn't need to be explained.
Right.
Those kind of relationships,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I have going on, or whatever it is. I could not talk to some of those guys for a year and, you know, call him tomorrow and like we sit down for coffee, like nothing had happened. So
that every one of my buddies from high school, we're all the same. You know, and we're all, you know, some of us are, you know, highly professional, high performing individuals, but could call him up right now and talk and continue the same conversation we had at, you know, our 25-year reunion a few years back, you know. So right. So yeah, super cool dudes. Yeah, it's just really good to have those kind of people. But, you know, sometimes, you know, and I think it's important for people to hear that, you know, that you kind of have to drop ultimatums on people too. You know, it's like I am very fortunate. I have a lot of addiction in my family. And thank God it's never been an issue for me. Yeah. Now I won't say that there's not things that I'm obsessed and addicted to. Sure. You know, it just doesn't seem to be any kind of negative effect on my body at this point, you know, or my health. You know, but you know, there's been some really hard conversations that you've had to have with people say, hey, look, man, you know, and with friends, you know, it's like I'm just not going to be around this any longer. And, you know, it's a choice. But I love you. I'll do whatever you know, I'll always be there for you, but I'm not going to choose to be around this any longer. Right. You know, it brings me down. Yeah. It's not fun. You know, it's just not energy. I want to push into that. You know?
Sure. Yeah. Which I kind of was able to do that whenever we moved from Carmi over to Newburgh, you know.
Do you think that was necessary? Do you think that was an important step? What prompted the move?
Well, that definitely pushed it a little bit. Okay. Kind of getting away, wanting that reset. I'm trying to think. I think right whenever we kind of decided to move was right whenever I went to the detox facility for a couple days, and then it wasn't long after that we'd kind of made the decision. Which my wife is a nurse over here at Tri-State, orthopedic, or St. Vincent. I'm sorry, she's gonna kill me for that. But she's been a nurse driving over here for the last, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years now, whatever it was. At the time, she'd been doing it for like 5 years already. Yeah. Driving a little over an hour just one way. So getting over here closer was, you know, better for her. Now she only has to drive 10 minutes one way.
Yeah, so that's a huge difference.
Yeah. So that was a big thing, you know, and I'm not like a college graduate, so I don't have like you know, I can find a job. You can put me in most, you know, cities or places and, you know, make something happen.
You'll do something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Never really had too much of an issue with that. So, yeah, I think it was necessary. I think it was good. Even though you know, I think at the beginning there was like a little bit of a thought that maybe we could just run away from this thing and just get out of town and it would stop.
Well, but I mean, there's also the thought where you have to kind of remove yourself from, you know, the
same
the pull of it, right? Yeah. Because I can make the decision at 8 o'clock in the morning, today's the day, and then by noon I'm in the same place where I'm at every day, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, and it's hard. And you know, you see these people, and again, it's kind of going back to like with your buddies and stuff, you know, whenever you're still around this stuff every single day, and it's like, yeah, I don't think there would have been much of a chance to really like reset and kind of get away from it if I hadn't kind of relocated and moved away. Because even just driving down the road and seeing whatever it is, something in town that just like reminds you and sparks your mind of a memory, you know, that you had. And, you know, for someone that's struggling or is in that stage of addiction where it's kind of, you know, it's mentally taken over and stuff. It, you know, it could just be you driving down the road and like you see a parking lot and you remember something that happened and now you're thinking like you're fiending, whatever you want to call it. Sure. You know, just from a thought, it can happen that quick.
You're triggered from it.
Yeah, just super fast. And at that time, I didn't know what any of that meant, like triggers, and because I was still like, you know.
Well, yeah, you kind of blow those words off, right? Just like, oh, come on.
I was like,
who says that? Right?
Yeah, I was like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then once I left and got out of that area, I didn't realize that I was kind of just being triggered, waking up, like just being there, you know, because everything around you, it just, you know, you can't change if nothing changes.
Right.
Like something has to happen. Yeah. And I think that's kind of.
Yeah, there has to be, you know, in order for this experiment to happen, there's all these components that have to go into it, right?
Sure.
It's moving, it's it's making a decision, it's moving away from the environment, it's doing all of these kinds of things. So it would take an incredibly different type of human to remain in that environment and just completely change everything, right?
Sure.
And this, I would venture to say this, people don't hardly exist, But,
Yeah.
with the rate of success, it's pretty low.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I mean, just even being on this podcast, sitting here talking to you. If we hadn't made that move, hadn't got over here, it's so crazy. I would not be in this room, would not be speaking with you.
Yeah.
Would have never had you in my home, to speak, it's super crazy.
It's really weird I do this all the time. So I'm glad you bring this up. So I sit here and think, I'll sit and I look at him, I'm like, he's 17, he's a great kid, cool guy,
Yes,
kind of thing. But I think of all of the really, what I thought were kind of crappy things that happened in life that led to decisions that made him possible. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's,
it has to be so perfect.
Be grateful for everything, man.
Just the way everything lines up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I think about it.
Even those times where you're like, rock bottom, those kinds of things, but looking back on that now, this moment, this is where we're at, And so I'm a huge, I can get real woo-woo about it, like the
me
whole
too.
thing. But there's the collision of all of these circumstances and happenings made him, and I wouldn't have him if X, Y, and Z didn't happen.
Sure. Some sort of synergy.
Right.
I talk about the power of the universe.
Right.
Sometimes whenever we get into like discussion of God or whatever, however you feel about that. And, I do believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's something going on outside of this that I don't think we're meant to understand.
I could not agree with you more. Yeah.
I don't think, I think you drive yourself crazy spending your whole life trying to figure out what all this is instead of just being here today in the moment. And I think, whenever we leave this earth, I think that's something that we'll learn then.
Yeah.
But until that moment, I don't drive yourself crazy. I think trying to figure it out.
Well, just be nice.
Just be a good person,
Just
man.
be a good person. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Just not be a piece of shit.
Right. Yeah, right.
That's what I told myself
Right. Yeah.
That's what I still tell myself. I'm like, if I do anything today, just don't be an ass, man.
I've never been. I look at church like I look at like you look at kind of therapy. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand that it exists and all these other kinds of things. I'm a questioning human being. I will question you to death.
Yeah.
So I can't, and I've tried. I have tried, but I can't sit in a church and not sit there and say, yeah, but what about? But what about this? Yeah, but this, that, and so I'm unable to relax around the rules that they try to throw out there. Okay, so just be nice. Can I just be nice? All right, I'm just gonna be a good person. And maybe it's just because I haven't found the right place or whatever. But I haven't given up. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We're not throwing in the towel or nothing.
Yeah.
I don't. I agree with that. I don't think. I think that whatever that relationship is with your higher power, whatever that is, whatever you believe, if you believe it's the sun, if you believe it's, for me, I think it's like the elements. I think it's the universe. It's the wind. It's the whatever that is that puts you in those right places at these random times. Whatever that is,
right,
is what I believe is sort of like that higher power. And I think that sort of relationship, that's not a relationship that. And I've been to a couple different churches. We went to a church whenever we moved over here. Well, at the beginning of this last time, whenever I got sober, the first 6 months, we went to a church over in Newburgh. It was great. Really loved it. But something about it, I don't think that relationship that you're trying to build with whatever this higher power is something that you should seek to achieve with other people. Like, I don't think that we were meant to have that connection, like all together in this room, experience like the same thing. Because I don't think that's what it is. I think it's so unique to each person.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you should be able to really explain it.
Yeah.
Like I can't explain what I feel when I think about a relationship with whatever it is.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like a really deep, just like, I mean, it really is like a relationship with yourself in a sense. It's like a sense of like learning how to be okay with yourself and like the situations that you're in and I can't really explain it either.
Yeah. And I used to do these kind of like, kind of internal tests, so it's like, what is the good moral response to this situation? What should I do? Sometimes you knee jerk, you get mad, and you don't make the best decision, right? But if you're trying to continuously improve yourself, you're trying to be a better human, right? Okay, plug a little plug there. You're trying to be a better human, then you make the mess up a couple times. Okay, you're given that in life, right? You're going to screw up, right? But the ability to be able to recognize it and then hit pause and say, okay, wait, like I remember whenever I acted like this last time, and then these things happened, and they were valueless, right? Or a negative value to it, right? So what do, and if you just pause and ask yourself that question, 9 times out of 10, the moment is gone. Like while you're pondering it,
Can't really make it to the end of the thought.
Right? Yeah. There's no sense of me finishing because the situation's gone. The guy that pulled out in front of you is now gone on, and you're alive, and your kids are safe, and the car's fine, and okay, let's just go.
Right.
So I'm able to do that pretty quickly now.
Yeah.
So now it's just kind of second nature to where, and people are going to listen to this and be like, you blow up all the time. And I do. I'm incredibly passionate about certain things,
Yeah, of course.
But as far as, being able
What's the difference between passionate and then, the intent behind it, behind the emotion or whatever that is.
That's the good word. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Whatever your intent behind that, your action, or I think intent is big. Yeah. I think that's part of religion or whatever you're trying to achieve by going to church every Sunday, whatever that it's like a inner level of like goodwill and like standard and good intent. Like it's a level that you have to like withhold with yourself in the way that like you approach the world. And that's what I think like being a good human. And like if you were to say like what gets you into heaven, I would say something along those lines. Like something about like having a good, because you meet people that like there's people out there that are just bad people. And then you meet people that have made so many mistakes, but like they mean freaking well.
They give you the shirt off your back still.
Right? Yeah. And those are the people you're like, to me, I'm like that. Those are the people that I would want in heaven. They probably don't look good on paper. I don't look fantastic on paper.
I would think many of us do.
Yeah,
because whatever that higher power just knows what.
But like, what's in your heart,
right?
That's like, and those are the people that to me, it's like what gets into heaven. It's it's not the people that are perfect or they don't cuss or like they've never done anything they weren't supposed to. It's like what's your intent behind the life you're trying to live,
right?
Is it a good one or is it a bad one?
Yeah, is your heart pure?
Yeah. Do you mean well or do you not?
Right.
Yeah. And I didn't for a long time, and that's the whole point of basically this everything that's transpired in my life the last 2 years has been with just I feel like I've spent so much time with ill intent and not doing well, and if there's a higher power out there, I know that he's very upset with me, that kind of thing.
He's working on you.
And it's like, and it starts from within. And then if you believe in God and you believe that God made everything and God is everything, then therefore, you are God. So therefore, then the change must start within yourself. So
I think that that thought process, that whole thing that you just went through, has that always been present in you?
No,
because it's beautiful. It's beautiful to sit here and listen to it. Because it is. I'm the same way. Okay, I did not grow up in the church. My parents didn't go to church. Their parents didn't go to church. It's just
It's not that we're anti-church. It's
Sure.
not that we're, have the, black goats and Satan robes in our backyard or whatever,
Right.
we're not those people.
Yeah.
But it just was never a part of my upbringing.
Sure.
Okay. I feel like that if you have that as an adult, as a young adult, as a teenager or whatever, you're at a somewhat of an advantage because you've kind of grown up in that,
Definitely.
And there's always going to be the rebellious part of you that wants to start questioning the church or whatever. If you have some sort of incident that starts that or whatever. But I don't argue religion because I'm completely ignorant to it. I don't know. I don't, I can read about, what the Jewish people believe, what the Muslim people believe. Why are they fighting over this strip of, like all those kinds of things. I don't get it though, because I'm not that, I don't, when people ask, this is going to be, I don't want this to sound awful, but like, where do you stand with Israel and Palestine? I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't affect me.
I think they should both go to hell. They're over, know.
Yeah,
I don't care what your religion is or who you believe in.
Yeah.
I think the killing of innocent people is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't care the reason.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what your flag looks like. I don't care who you worship. There's just something inside of me, inside of my heart, that says killing innocent people is not right.
It's wrong. Yeah.
I don't give a damn what it's for. So am I, Israel is slaughtering people the same way. They're all over
Whatever
there.
channel you're watching.
It's all. I think it's all wrong. I think it's so bizarre to me that we're so advanced in this world, and like the only way we can still figure things out is just dropping some bomb out of a plane.
The only way to ultimately settle an argument is to kill one another.
We can't figure it out. We're talking about these government agencies that are playing with trillions of dollars, and it's like, but the only way that we can get to a solution is bombs and killing everything. He's like, what are we doing?
And I don't want to sound apathetic to it. It's just that I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I also don't have a favorite sports team. So there's that. So I'm not a choosing sides kind of person. I want to look at the whole picture.
I had favorite athletes. I didn't have favorite teams.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. So I like good people. I don't really care because of the team that they're on.
Sure. You can't draw me into a group,
right?
Just because of where you're located, or
right.
that doesn't mean anything to me.
Some sort of tribalistic, like.
Well, I mean, I'm a Cardinals fan.
Okay.
I was raised a Cardinals fan.
Yeah.
Been a Cardinals fan. If you ask me my favorite baseball team, St. Louis Cardinals for sure. But not like in a tribal sense,
right?
Where like I'm ready to die for it,
right?
That kind of thing.
Yeah, you got the stickers and the license plate frame and all.
Yeah,
that.
No.
Yeah. I think that the advantage of growing up with that is that it's generational at this point. I think and they exist. I think there's very few people though, however, that are come up fresh at 17 with this, kind of non-indoctrinated belief in whatever. It's come from somewhere. And like I said, there's people that exist for that. I'm not one of those people. I've never put the energy into it because I've never really been motivated internally or externally to do so.
Sure.
Just be a good person.
Absolutely.
I just want to be a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I didn't always kind of think like that. That I started to the belief of like the higher power. It was kind of, I'll tell you a quick story. It was it was the last time that I'd been kicked out of the house. And I'd spoken to my wife, and we'd agreed to work things out, or to talk and see what we could work out. And there's people that have struggled with addiction. We'll talk about whenever whenever they're like, okay, I'm actually ready to get sober. Okay, which it's never the first time, and it's most definitely never the second, or probably the third. Okay, whenever it's the first, because I went through that the first couple of times of being like, no, I'm done with it. At the time, I didn't realize it. Looking back now, though, I knew the whole time. I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. With this last time, whatever, the flip is switched, and I was like, this is it. Like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I really want to be done. And not in like a manipulative way where I was like, I know I can like weasel my way back in here if I, it wasn't like that. I was just like, I know if I can just get one more shot at this. I was like, I'm really done with it. So Briley agrees to speak with me and to see what we can figure out. So I left Newburgh. I was driving back to North City to my parents' house to pack my bags. At this time, I had been going to AA meetings and had been trying to find whatever like this higher power was, or whatever that meant to me. And as I'm like driving home, I got this really crazy feeling of like it was out of everything that had went wrong. You know, I'd been arrested and kicked out, and I lost my job and I lost my license, and I had nothing going on. I was just a complete shitbag, just from top to bottom. I got this really crazy like calmness over me. I was just driving, and out of nowhere, I swear, it was like the sky got brighter, like everything like lit up, and out of nowhere, I just felt like all the weight that I had been carrying from everything that had been going on, I felt it just leave, and I was like, this is it. I was like, I know, I was like, I can, whatever this is, I can feel it, and this like it was like a trance, like almost state. I was just driving down the interstate, and it was like, I don't know, probably real time, probably like 5 seconds, but it felt like 20 minutes that I was just in this, like any other person would probably, you know, they'd be depressed and anxious and like not very happy with the situation in their life. And in that moment, all of that just washed away. And I was like, I'm way too calm for how bad everything is.
Yeah.
But I knew, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I was like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to freaking figure this out.
Yeah.
So then I get home and I'm packing up my bags. A buddy of mine, I just had him on the podcast Sunday. My best friend.
Yeah. So I saw. It was good.
Yeah, he's 4 years sober now. We, you know, went through a lot of shit together. I hadn't spoke to him in probably a year. He had no idea that I was like struggling with the alcohol and stuff at the time, because he had his own stuff going on, and I didn't want to interfere with that. Hadn't spoke to him like a year. So I get home. I'm feeling good. I know I'm getting ready to go speak with my wife. I just had this moment of like just calm, relaxed, like a breath of fresh air flowed just completely through me. All the worries left. And then I get home and I'm packing and my phone lights up and it's Tucker calling me. And I was like, I haven't spoke to this guy in a year. You know, one of my best friends, we've been to hell and back. And now just like on this day after I just had this moment like 20 minutes ago, now my phone's lighting up and he's calling me. I answered the phone. I was like, dude, what is going, like at this point I thought someone was like messing with me. I was like, what is going, I answered the phone. I was like, dude, I was like, this is what's been going on, my day, da, 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 da. I was like, and then you call me. Like, I was like, all these things are like are lining up.
Right.
And he just said, it sounds like you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, man.
And that's all he said. And, you know, I moved back in a couple of days later, and you know, I've been sober since. But it was that moment, whatever that like sense of calmness I felt, that's what kickstarted my thought process of like, if I just take one day at a time and try to be like the good person we were talking about, and I find that goodness in me, and I just try to keep that on a day-to-day basis, like, good things have to happen.
Yeah.
And I believe that with, you know, to this day, I still believe that. I'm like, if you do good things and you have intent of positive, you want to do good, you know, you can't go into these things with, you know, the ill intent or doing the podcast. It'd be like if I did the podcast and all I was concerned about was views and just like pushing that kind of sort of narrative with it, you know, but I knew, I was like, if I just continue to do good things with a positive intent, then I truly believe that I have no choice but for good things to come.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's just been like a rainbow effect of just good things after another.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's kind of where that, whatever that moment was, where it just like, I swear it was like the sky just like got bright and like, it was like whatever it was, I could almost like see it in the sky. It was bizarre. And then it like just, and everything left. And I was like, it was like something was telling me, was like, this is it.
This is it. This is
like,
yeah.
I'm going to wipe you clean. You know, these worries, these stresses, like, I'm going to take them from your mind. And like, you now see what you have to do. It was a weird
It's
moment.
fucking like chills, bro. I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
because those, I know those. I mean, I don't know that I've experienced that powerful of a
Mhm.
of a moment before with something like that.
Mhm.
But I get it. Like I
Yeah.
understand like this. Okay, this is I'm driving this direction. The sun is right there.
Yep.
I'm in this point. I'm going this miles an hour. I was going this miles an hour back there, and at that point, some cosmic thing happens.
Mhm.
Where I am.
Yeah.
All right, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the moment.
And I don't know if that's, God or
Whatever.
the
man.
power of the universe.
Just give it a big
I,
old
I
hug.
just knew, I just knew at that time, whenever that calmness hit, whatever that was, whenever it hit, like I said, given the list of things going on in my life at that time,
Yeah.
I would, anyone else would have every reason to not be happy
Right.
about anything. And in that moment, I let all of that go. And I knew, I was like, I don't care. I did care that I didn't have a job. And
Sure.
of course I
yeah,
cared.
Yeah. Right.
But just like for a second, it all left. It was just like, and it was like something was trying to pull all of that away, almost in like in a way to be like, look, you can make this happen. If you continue to do what you're supposed to do, I'll pull this back for a second. I'll pull all this off you real quick and let you see sort of how you can feel. And it was like in that moment, it all left. And I was like, oh.
And the fact that your buddy calls
And then 20 minutes later,
20
he was
minutes later
calling.
and tells you like, oh yeah, I know that feeling. You're doing exactly what you need to do.
Yeah. He said
And he was 3 years sober or whatever at the time. Right?
Yeah.
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 That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I left my parents' house that day knowing I would never walk back into that house with a suitcase or bag again.
Yeah.
I was like, I will not. I walked out and I looked down and I said, I will not be back.
Yeah.
No offense.
Right. Yeah. Love you.
I love you, but I will not be back.
Right. Yeah.
To visit, say hi. But
Yeah.
you'll never see me walk in here with a bag again. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Man.
So, yeah.
But that's beautiful, dude. That is, I mean, that's like, that's, like I said, that's chill inducing. And I love your buddy for like immediately recognizing that moment, what, you haven't talked to him forever. Was there something that pushed him to call? These are the kinds of things that kind of go on.
I didn't ask.
Right. Yeah.
I thought about it.
Yeah.
But I was like, doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't matter because, if it's real to you,
sure,
and you believe it, then it's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can put that and apply that to anything you want to. If you believe it and it's real and you think it's real, then it's real.
Yeah.
And that, be careful with that. You don't want to, but I do believe that.
Yeah. Some people take moments like that and they'll make that, they'll kind of back engineer it and think that, oh, that's why we're in a simulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm quite I mean, if we are in a simulation, then the architect is God or is something, something well beyond any understanding that we'll ever be able to comprehend.
Part of me believes that Earth is hell.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me thinks that we're already in hell. And the whole point of it is like to purify yourself while you're here, to then be ready for whatever is next, and to get in, talk about some woo-woo stuff.
Oh yeah.
It, I think deja vu, those types of feelings. I don't think that's just random stuff. You feel like you've been here before. Part of me thinks, well, maybe you have, and maybe you're back here again because you didn't fulfill. You didn't find that positive intent that I'm kind of referring to. Not saying that like I figured it out. I'm like I'm going to the promised land. That's not what I'm referring. That's not what I'm saying at all.
You can say you figured it out and you can start a cult if you want to.
Cool. Yeah, the first meeting's next week actually. So and maybe you if you don't figure it out, you come back here. And you try again until you figure it out, and then once your soul's ready and you figured it out, and then I think it's like that. It's really being okay with who you are as a person, and like really, because a lot of people say they are, a lot of people talk about they're, confident in themselves or they this, that, and the other, but I feel like the truth is a lot of people are pretty insecure. They don't really believe a lot of the stuff they're saying.
Yep.
They go home at night probably a lot of doubts, and I think really what it is, it's about really like being okay with who you are.
I think that a lot of that comes with, and we've talked about similar kind of scenario with Mackenzie Hart. You know Mackenzie? Okay, so she's kind of stepped out and said, "I'm going to do this." you
Yeah.
know? So a lot of it is just taking that step. It
Mhm.
is doing what you feel like you need to do, and you may sit on it for 4 or 5 years, 20 years, 30 years,
Yeah.
but you get to that, that effort moment,
Yeah.
with as beautiful as a use of a term as that is, can be,
Yeah.
and when you have that effort moment and things really start to kind of just fall into place and grooves start to get found and flow and all these kinds of
Yeah.
things, and those moments when you do have that, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing,
Say an object in motion stays in motion.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just keep going, keep building the momentum,
Yeah.
keep doing what it is you're doing, pushing that message, man. Because I'm telling you, it's a beautiful message, and it's not.
Thank you.
There's no. It has, all the elements to it that are real.
Mm.
Those are real feelings. I can tell that you're not bullshitting me when you say that.
Yeah.
I was driving and the sun splits and
Yeah.
the sky splits and there's this. This is exactly what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It was yeah, that wave of calmness was unlike anything
Right,
that
yeah.
I'd felt.
It's not a Facebook post to get likes. It's a real
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like just for everything to be so wrong
Yeah.
and to feel so okay, to like feel like I was right where I was supposed to be
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I needed to go through that, so that way someone else didn't have to. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah,
It just,
for whatever reason, man.
you drive yourself crazy trying to figure that out
Exactly.
too.
That's why I don't sit in church. Like that's
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
sit here and question and question and question. When I just want to accept the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Just accept the beauty of that moment, man,
Mhm.
because that is what has changed for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have a similar experience, right?
Right.
We're all on earth. We all breathe air. We all do this, whatever.
Mhm.
But, there's always a moment where that self-realization where it's like, I am exactly what I need to be at. And I know you are, but be incredibly grateful that you experienced it and you recognized it and you were able to take advantage of it,
Yeah. A lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't. Yeah.
A lot of people spend their whole lives
Sure.
trying to. Well, I was watching a video. It's like 50% of people or something I read like doesn't have an internal dialogue.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, wait,
What?
I was like, you don't just talk to yourself in your head all day
All day
long.
long, right.
Like, I didn't know that I could even stop that. I
Yeah.
didn't like.
Yeah. I've met those people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's normally kind of obvious whenever you do.
Right.
They're just,
Right.
lights are on, but no one's home.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. I don't even know where we were going with that.
But the embracing the moment, being able to realize that this is a pinnacle point in my life,
Yeah. Yeah.
and being sober for it,
Mhm.
being present for it, and again, you try to, the drive from Newburgh to North Carmine, North City, wherever you were going to, what is that?
Hour
45
10.
minutes,
Hour 10.
hour 10.
something
Okay,
like
so a
hour
little bit
15.
over an hour's worth of time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you left in a certain emotional state.
Oh yeah.
By the time you got to this pinnacle moment in your life, you were in a different emotional state because there's
Well, it was the morning I got let out of jail.
right. Okay,
I get back this up and tell you how I got in, how I got to this place on the
Okay,
interstate.
all right, gotcha.
Yeah. So that after the day before, I started drinking early, like 9 o'clock, and was on my second bottle of whiskey by 1, and I'm getting pulled over by Warwick County. Well, I end up spending the night in jail and lose my job and all of that. And the next morning, my dad comes and bails me out, and he takes me back to the house and get a bag of stuff, and we leave. And one of the hardest things too, part of that was like leaving my dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get into that
You
after.
do have some great dogs, by the way.
I appreciate that. Yeah, well, one of them, Gus.
Yeah.
I accredit being alive to him.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I'll get that. I'll
Yeah.
talk about that in a minute. But so so I say goodbye to my dogs and I leave. I leave my house. I drive to my work. Speak with my boss. Phenomenal guy. He was very understanding. But I had to be let go.
Mhm.
And I left there. As soon as I left there, that was in Chandler where I was working at the time. And I left there and I just cried all the way to, I don't know, probably Cynthiana. Just like my life is over. This is it. Like if I lose all of this, like I was like, this is probably it for me. Like I have nothing left to be here for. And it was in the midst of all of that, like tears 1 minute, and then just like the next minute, that's what I mean. Like in that moment where I had just completely emotional, mental wreck all over the place. And just like that fast, it all dried up. And everything, I was driving down the road. I don't really pray like what like traditional people pray. I just like talk out loud. To me, that's like praying. I just let it out. And like all I could remember praying about, I was like, if Briley leaves me, I get it. I deserve it. If I lose everything, that's what it is. I'm just like asking, like, please just take the pain off me. That's it. Like, I'm not asking for you to give me my wife back. I don't deserve that. I'm not asking for my life back. Like, I don't deserve any of this. Like, I'm just asking to please, like, take the pain away from me and, like, I'll handle the rest. Like, just remove the pain. Like, I cannot do it. And then, yeah, just within seconds, it was like everything had just washed away. And in that moment, it was like, everything went silent. You almost have like the ringing in your ears, and I can't begin to express like the wave of just like 100 pounds being shed off my body. Like everything that was just on my heart in that moment had just been pulled off. It's like whatever it was pulled it off of me just long enough to show me like this isn't it, like just to remind me like there's another side to this, but it's gonna hurt right now. And it's like that 10 seconds of everything being off my body was just like all I needed to just recoup. It's like it'd been months and months and months of this battle of hiding and lying and doing all these terrible things. And even though I didn't deserve it, just 10 seconds of all of that felt like didn't exist. And due to that moment, I think that's what really kind of gave me the like push to be like, okay, wait, story's not over. Story's not over. Sun's gonna come up tomorrow. We're gonna figure this out.
Again, I mean, each time I hear it, it's just it's just kind of proof that, hey, for guys like you and I that don't grow up in the church, don't go to the church, and we don't do those things, but we're still good. But there's still this connection to something, that we can channel somehow.
I think that was like the whole point of me telling you that was like, I never had that kind of feeling in a church. Any church that I've been in, I've never had that kind of feeling. And so that's for me. I don't think that church is where I'm gonna find my God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think that's perfectly reasonable to say. It's just not there. I mean, I can tell you that this is way before either one of you guys were probably ever thought of, but when I was in 9th grade, there was a guy named Ivan Browning that predicted an earthquake along, whatever fault line that is. It's can't remember what the fault line is that runs through here, but there's a major fault line that runs like basically down the Ohio River. And there was a predicted earthquake. Everybody read horoscopes and everything back in the early 90s, late 80s. And so everybody believed in like this soothsaying prophecy kind of driven, kind of stuff. And he had predicted an earthquake. and the entire one part of Henderson was going to collapse into the Ohio River. And we were all petrified that whenever this day was going to come, you know.
Yeah.
So, honest to God, as ironic as that sounds now, that is why I went and got saved.
Really?
Because I was scared to death. I was not going to go. I was going to go to hell.
So
I was
the
gonna
thought of death.
I was going to. An earthquake was going to swallow me alive, and I was just going to go to hell because I had never gone to church or anything like that. You know, so that is, you know, if you're looking for the weakest relationship with religion growing up, that's about as weak as it comes. You know, you know, but even as a open and closed-minded, you know, adult. I still struggle with it, but I get what you're saying. I understand that part of it, and that resonates with me because I know I'm not atheist. I'm not
right.
I'm not you know agnostic or whatever it is you want to call it. You know, but I don't know. I know that there's something, but I don't know what that is. I don't know that the guy with the guy up in the front of the church or the lady in front of the church can explain that to me in a sense where it's going to connect with me.
Yeah, and you know, they preach about your connection with God, and that it's like it's something that's between you and God, between you and God, and it's like, well, then, you know, why do I got to come here and get this through you?
Right. Well, and it's not something. It's not something that I think I can explain. You know? Like,
it's not something we can sit down and like.
I don't know. You know, do I reflect on, you know, decisions that I make? Do I keep God in mind? Well, I tried to make the right decision. Wasn't that what we should do? All do, you know? So I guess yes. I mean, if that's the way we're putting it, but I feel like that's with every decision that I try to make. You know,
right?
There are bad people out there, right?
Yeah.
You know, so there's people that don't do that. So if I'm comparing that group of people to the group of people that I'm in, well, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job. You know?
Right.
Do I mess up? Do I make bad decisions? Do I do bad things from time to time? Yeah, sure. You know, but you know, I don't. It's my intent.
Yeah.
Is not to hurt anybody from that.
Right.
It's an emotional part of a moment or whatever it may be. You know.
Yeah, I think part of that too is learning to grow and to figure out that you have to be careful too. You don't want to be. I've been guilty of it where. I meant well, and that's always kind of like the excuse of anything that
I didn't mean to do that. Right.
I meant to do well.
Yes, right. That doesn't always work, especially in courts of law.
You know, there's give and take. You know, you have to learn to have that good intent and actually make that effort and not just use it as something you can say afterwards, just like a whoopsie.
Sure. Well, I think that kind of through all of this, kind of talk. There's been like this recurrent, kind of absent, kind of member here. That's your wife. What your wife's name is, Briley?
Yes,
Briley.
Yes.
Yeah,
Briley.
So we all, as we all have to have those patron saints that kind of surround us too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of sounds like she's
a warrior.
Filled that role for you,
Yeah, she's been through hell.
Yeah, and I know a lot of marriages that have dissolved because of alcohol, drugs, those kinds of things. And not that those people are weak. I think there's just a breaking point, right?
Absolutely.
And she was at hers.
I was there.
Yeah. And the divine intervention or whatever it was that happened with you, here we are, 11 months later, you're rocking her t-shirt. You're doing all these kinds of cool things.
Yeah.
So I think if we're the main character of our story, the supporting cast is incredibly important.
For sure.
And then that supporting cast is going to revolve, and people are going to, characters are going to die off and move away and do all those kinds of things. But
well, you don't have a play without the cast. You know, there is no show.
Right.
The show can't, show can't go on.
Right.
Just to touch on my wife, while we're here, she had every right to leave, to not look back, to want nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have blamed her for that. She has a bigger heart than I do, because I don't know if I would have.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have dealt with it. Probably not.
Mm-mm.
I hate to say that. That's pretty hypocritical, but that's just truth. I don't think
Right.
I could have done it.
Right.
She's a lot stronger human being than I am. And if it hadn't have been for her, yeah, there would have been probably never getting sober.
Right.
Um, I can't imagine any relationship I was in the past where I would have listened to someone trying to get me to sober up.
Mhm.
That wouldn't have happened. The thought of losing her, though, losing the dogs, just losing everything that I knew,
Yeah.
it, yeah, I can't put into words how
Yeah.
grateful I am for.
Yeah. And I hate to slim it, kind of dumb down life, but life is a choice of risk versus reward, right?
Mhm. It
It
is.
So my risk of losing my family, losing my dogs, losing
Mhm.
everything, whatever everything is to you,
Mhm.
at that for many times really wasn't even assessed, right?
Yeah.
Just because I'm going to drink, that's what I do,
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
moment where that comes up, and you can start to assess those things,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
the
Well, you never
decisions
thought
kind
that.
of reveal themselves, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I never thought that was possible.
Right. Yeah.
Losing all these things. I didn't think that was going to be the case. You don't think that kind of thing is going to happen, or you don't think that you have those kinds of problems, or it'll never happen to me, or whatever it is. Yeah. And then as you're packing the bags and you're walking out the front door,
Mm-hmm.
uh, walking away from everything and have no idea where to even start.
Right.
Like, there was like a night I spent, like slept in the Walmart parking lot in my truck because I couldn't go home, and I didn't want to go to my parents' house because like every time I walked in there, I was just reminded what a piece of shit I was every time I had to walk in there with a bag.
Yeah.
So I didn't even want to go in there. I didn't even want anyone to see me. I just, so yeah, the realization, like I said, walking through the door whenever that door shuts behind you, and you've never felt so lost in the world, as a 25, 26-year-old, that everything was so well not too long before, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you feel like you're this big,
Yeah.
and like nobody sees you,
And it's really kind of a prolific statement because, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, how many times you been in jail?
just once.
Okay, just once.
Mhm.
So the cell door,
Thank God.
the cell door, whatever, slam it behind
Clink,
you.
clink, 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 clink.
Wasn't the door closing that really resonated with you. It was you having to again go back home, packing a bag.
Yeah.
Feeling,
Yeah, I would say that definitely helped too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
it plays a part. Right? It's an ingredient, right, in this
yeah.
whole story. But
Yeah, never wanted to step back foot in any sort of jail again
Right,
is
yeah.
reason enough for most people.
Sure,
But
right.
not for everyone. Some
Yeah.
people aren't scared of it.
Right, yeah.
It scared me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Food wasn't up to par for me.
Right.
So no, but yeah, just that one time. But there was a moment, not really maybe even just the door shutting behind you, but in jail, in the county jail, you can't have, there's not a mirror, it's just like a metal sheet of something that you can kind of see yourself in. And looking in that in an orange jumpsuit
Mm-hmm.
and looking back at myself and being like, this is, I had, what some people would consider to be, pretty a success, younger years of life, did well in sports and all that kind of thing. And would have been, around more of the popular crowd, you could say. And going through that and then standing in front of that sheet of metal, and I'm dressed in all orange, and
Yeah. How the hell did I get here?
buddy outside the door just stripped me down naked, and
Mm-hmm.
just this guy looking back at myself, and I hated him,
Mm-hmm.
and it like made me want to throw up just looking at myself. I was like, dude, you had everything going,
Yeah.
and here you are. Like, look at yourself, and I did. I forced myself. I probably spent an hour just looking, just to remember, this is who you are. If you don't get your shit together, like this is your life. If you don't figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
So that feeling, it helps.
Yeah. I don't want to. Again, I don't want to downplay your quest, but
Sure.
you seem like an incredibly self-aware kind of guy, even through the shit, right?
Mm.
Even through the drunk times, and there was a lot of these moments that you're kind of alluding to, where it's like, man, fuck, what am I doing? You know, like, why am I this? And here I am. I'm on this Mexican, trip with my
Yeah.
wife. We're not going to drink. I can drink, blacked
Yeah.
out, drunk, waking up, day's halfway over. She's in bed on her phone, that kind of thing. So,
Yep.
so I think it's important to recognize that not a lot of people have that either.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think when I didn't always have that like self-aware.
Yeah.
I would say that probably started to come more after like getting arrested.
Yeah.
Just because I had escaped that, I've never been arrested. I've
Right, yeah.
spent my whole life drinking and driving.
Right, yeah.
It's bizarre that I never got caught earlier,
right,
to be
yeah.
completely honest. So yeah, that's whenever. But there was a part of me too that that knew what I was doing was wrong.
Mhm.
Even the drinks in Mexico, like I knew.
Yeah.
To me, it was like any way I could get in to just have some drinks.
Yeah.
Even though like I knew what was gonna happen, and I knew how the night was gonna end, and it ended the same way every single time.
Yeah.
Um,
But if you had that other chase, you at least had that other chase on your shoulder, right? Saying,
yeah,
"Hey, man, I see what you're doing.
yeah.
And we know what happens when you do this."
Yeah, I've those two, the the good and the
Right.
evil.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had both of those in my life for a long time. The good and evil, and I've listened to the not so good side for a really long time.
Sure. Yeah.
But there,
That's the fun side to listen to.
yeah, of course, yeah, that's the side gets all all the action in life.
Come on,
and
Chase, it'll be fun.
Yeah, and, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I had a great time.
Oh, sure.
A
Yeah,
lot of the
yeah,
time,
right, yeah.
it was always fun till it wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, even whenever I was in the midst of drinking and going through all those things, there was always like that part of me inside that was like, what, I knew what I was doing was wrong. And I had a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about the drinking, and he brought it up about, maybe I should start to get this under control or whatever it is. And I even made the comment to him then. I said, one of these days, I'll have to quit for good. And he said, you think so? And I said, yeah, it'll happen. I said, one of these days, this will have to stop. And I said, I don't know if it's going to be sooner or later. I said, but sooner would be better. But one of these days it'll stop. It'll be because I'm not here anymore, or because I make the decision to stop. It's good, there was no other way.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I've done in life that I wish I would have done differently, I guess. But the important thing is, I guess, and for longevity of psyche and mind and general vitality, I don't have any regrets for anything that I've done. Because kind of what we alluded to earlier, everything that's done has led me right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You throw off little bitty things somewhere, and who knows what would have happened. But are there things I look back on? I'm like, oh, I should have done that too.
Yeah.
Or man, I wish I wouldn't have said that to my kid. Like I wish I wouldn't have said that to my friend. Wish I wouldn't have done this at work or whatever. But I did.
Yeah.
And it's over with. It's 5 years ago. It's 2 years ago. I've like people that I know and I love deeply that dwell on shit that happened 15 years ago. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Why are you allowing
that moment doesn't exist?
Yeah. Why are you allowing that to take up space?
Yeah.
Let's let that go.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about this stuff. There is never going to come and apologize to you for that, because they've done forgot about it too.
There isn't a past.
Yeah.
There's no future.
Yeah.
There's right now.
Right now.
And whatever you're doing right this second, there is. Yep. Can you go to the future?
Yep.
No, because it doesn't exist.
Nope.
Can you go? Can you go to the past?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not real.
Right. Yeah.
All you have and everything else that you believe is just whatever, you've got something else going on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You're lying to yourself.
Yeah. I think it's okay to have vision.
Of course.
But to be able to dwell on what's going to happen or what should happen or trying to force things to happen,
of course,
and you're just causing your own agony.
Yeah, you got to have a vision. You got to have, at least for myself, if I don't have like goals or something I'm headed towards, I'm lost.
Right.
But that can't take away from, I think sometimes I think maybe the journey or whatever it is, that is the destination. It's not really getting to the end. There is no what's the end.
What's the end? There's no end.
It's every day. It's the systems that you put in place, and it's the things you enjoy to do on a day-to-day basis. It's those kinds of things.
So we segued beautifully, and we didn't even realize we did it. Because what are you doing now? What's Chase's next goal that we see every day on Instagram post?
I am 4 weeks out from an ultra marathon, man. Yeah,
boy.
April or August 23rd.
Me and Sonny lived that life for a long time. Yeah, that's
Did
it.
Yeah. It yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've never ran. I've never ran cross country. I've never been any sort of sanctioned runner ever in my life. I had a buddy who's doing the river to river relay across Southern Illinois. It's like I think 80 miles or something. A team of him and like 6 other guys. And they woke up one morning. He posted a picture on his Instagram story of them all loading in the van that morning and heading out to like head to the race. And I was laying in bed, and I just remember I saw that picture and was like, I don't know what it was, but just something about seeing like the camaraderie, all the guys together heading out to go to this race. I was like, damn, I missed that. Like playing basketball and baseball my whole life. I was like, wow. I was like, I really miss competing and kind of put myself out there and like just going at it, you know, like, I think maybe that's another reason why I strayed off the path as far as I did. I think that's another thing, the physical aspect, that competing, that whatever that is inside that fires me up, that kind of sends me maybe in the wrong way. I've learned that that's just who I am. Yeah. That's not going away. Yeah. It's about learning to redirect that into positive things. So
the mental toughness that comes along with stuff like that you're conquering, dude, I'm telling you, there's just unlike anything else.
Yeah. My wife, she likes to joke with me. She says, everyone says that, mentally it's harder, than it is physically. And she's like, but I don't think people know you. She's like, I think it's going to be harder physically for you than mentally. And I was like, well, whenever you've.
I can tell you that I did Ironman in 22.
Sweet.
And the goal at that point was to do one every year. That's what I was going to do.
That's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time, but again, it's a lofty goal, right? Just set the vision, and then see what happens.
Sure.
Kind of thing, the training for stuff like that, ultra marathons, big 50 miler, those kinds of things, is way more difficult than the actual race day. Race day, once it's there, it's like bodybuilding competition.
Yeah.
Right? And I would say bodybuilding is like a science experiment. It's like a science fair, right? So a bodybuilding competition is like a science fair. You're just there to present what you worked on. Yeah. There's going to be a winner. Somebody's going to have the better volcano than yours, or somebody's going to do the better whatever than yours. But you've ran this experiment on yourself, and here you go. This is what you got. Here's I'm going to present my poster as you.
Right.
Yeah. And it's kind of the same thing with that stuff. The hard part is the training, getting up to it, and all that other stuff. Once it's time to do it, you damn well better be ready to do it, or it's going to eat you alive.
Right.
You're going to drown in the river.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at now. I'm like getting to that point where 3-4 weeks out, and I'm like, I just want to go.
You just want to go.
I want to go right now.
You almost want to just need to go rest on the couch. If you can't run it by now, you're not going to be able to run.
That's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. So, but the mental toll that I never took into account, ever, would never have thought is the reason why I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just it's mentally exhausting.
Yeah, definitely.
Sleeping constantly, like afterwards and that kind of thing. So, have a really good kind of recovery program set up, get you some IV hydration.
Oh yeah. I'm going to have bags hanging in the car for the ride home.
Yeah. Come down, see us. You can plunge and sauna and all that good stuff. So but it made it so fun. It's so much fun. Yeah. And in the future, you get done with that one. And Sonny and I and his sister, Alyssa, we did a really cool challenge one time that I want to do again. And I think we'll have the perfect place to do it.
What kind of challenge is that?
You ever done heard of a 4x4 by 48? Mm-mm. 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Oh yeah. Like the backyard ultras.
It's a Goggins thing.
They just did one.
Backyard ultra. Yeah. But it is we did one, and we kind of set up a camp in our home garage. We put we went and got a bunch of movies, and we were just kind of here's what we're gonna watch. We're gonna play, and dude, it is so much fun, but yet so challenging. And of course,
Yeah.
I'm out there with my kids,
Right.
so they're not gonna see Dad quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're cross country runners, like
Yeah.
superstars. So that was like, it wasn't anything to them. They just thought it was cool. They could just stay up all night long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was do what? Eat all the protein bars and junk and garbage that you want.
Yeah. Ultra running is just an excuse to eat whatever
garbage,
you want.
yeah.
Give me anything carbs.
Yeah.
The bagels, give me all the bagels. Like just all that stuff. Yeah, they just had a backyard ultra over in Albion, Edwards County area.
Okay.
A buddy of mine, shout out Joe Rogers.
There you go.
Because dude just
Joe
ran
Rogers,
100 miles in that backyard ultra. He ran 24 hours straight. Finished on 100 miles, and I think he called it at 100.
Yeah.
I don't know if he got second or if he got first. I can't remember. It was him and one other guy. I remember it started at 7 a.m. Whenever I checked in at 7 a.m. the next morning, then 2 guys were left. They were still going.
If I get second to running 100 miles in 24 hours, me and that dude are going to fight.
Yeah. Yeah. This part.
Let's stop running right now and just throw hands, dude. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, I was wanting to go. I had to work that weekend. I was gonna do it just for like practice miles and just kind of see how far I could go.
Pedal with it, right?
Yeah, and so I didn't get to.
Yep.
That would be fun though. I would be interested in that.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we can podcast it the whole time.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, record the whole thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it once I got started, really it was I think the thing about running is just it's such a slow grind. It's not I've been lucky like with as far as like weight training and that kind of thing. I can, I've been able to I can pull weight off. If I commit, I can lean down, I can put weight on, I can all that kind of stuff. Normally fairly quick. The running though for me, it's a slower grind. I'm not the fastest guy.
No, you don't have to be, dude. The ultra marathon's not about running fast.
Yeah, it's just, and that's what I like about it. It's like it's you in the road, and how far can you go?
Yep,
like
it's 100% mental.
Yeah.
No. I mean, unless you're, in Cam Haynes or or these dudes. What's the girl's name?
Courtney DeWalter.
Yeah, unless you're Courtney, she's a beast.
She's
right?
a beast. Yeah.
But she looks like she runs 150 miles at a time, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're those people, man, just your opponent is you in everything.
Yeah, the slimming down, the losing the muscle.
Yeah,
I'm weak now.
Yeah.
I'm I was doing some pull-ups the other day, and I got to like 6 or 7. It was like, oh my god, half my strength is gone. But I knew that was part of it going into it, and I can't be carrying around a lot of weight and trying to.
Oh no, yeah. Him and his sister were state cross country runners consecutive years in a row.
Sweet.
So his sister finished out her senior year as a runner. Was it this past season or the season before that? All right, so he's 17. He's getting the gains, right? He's in the gym. So he starts running across.
Primed up.
He starts getting out there in cross country. He's fast.
Yeah.
But like I'm like, dude, all right. Listen, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's a baseball kid too. Okay, so he plays baseball. Baseball season gets over with. You're immediately going to cross country. You have a dead week, and then immediately goes into cross country.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got all these nice baseball gains, and then you're
not in the best shape.
5,000 calories a day running, So like, there's no way you're going to be able to eat, and sustain what you've built. So we had it was a hard decision, and he kept the muscles instead of the legs. So there you go.
Yeah, baseball shape is a different kind of.
Oh, yeah, it's a different
kind of shape.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not cross country.
It's definitely not cross country shape.
Definitely
not cross country. Although I think that you did get a little bit of motivation. Your coach one year was a cross country runner, right, and a catcher, and that's what he does. So partly what he does. He's more of a right fielder kid now. Yeah, got too tall, but
got too tall. Too bad on the knees.
Too fast, and the gun. So
yeah, there you go.
So man, beautiful. I'm going to call it a testimony because I kind of felt like church here. All right. It's not a courtroom.
Yeah.
Not a courtroom testimony, but
right.
So where can people find Sutton Sanctuary at?
YouTube and
Okay.
Spotify
All right.
is where we're at. Yeah, as far as the podcast goes,
Yeah.
and check out the Weiss IV business.
Yeah.
I got the merch on.
Yeah.
The Hydrate 1-2 IV therapy.
Gotcha.
HYDR, and then the number's 812 IV therapy.
Yes.
You can find them on Facebook and Instagram.
Very cool.
She's got the whole mobile thing set up. Come
Cool.
right to your house and get the IV
Hook
taken
you
care of.
up. Hook you up, taken care of.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely.
We'll keep that handy. We'll keep that handy for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna be needing those assistances.
No, yeah,
soon,
yeah. So when it's in 4 weeks,
4 weeks.
it's gonna be hot as a bitch.
It's gonna be so warm. Well, I'm hoping this heat wave that just
Yeah.
has hit right now. I'm hoping pushes this heat out. Hope
Yeah.
a little bit of cold front comes in. Hopefully, it can hold off for just
Beautiful weekend
3
for
more
running
weeks.
this weekend. Apparently, so just get you a nice little cool down.
Yeah.
What tempo? Not tempo runs. You shouldn't be past that. What do you
Like taper.
taper runs?
Taper.
Yeah, there you go. Right,
I'm not yet. This is probably this week, maybe half of next week.
Yeah.
This
And
week will be a big one.
And where is it at?
Ozark, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
It's like down the Shawnee National Forest, like south of
Is it a trail
Marion.
run? Is it like
Yeah,
inland
yeah.
forest? Okay.
Yeah, the whole thing's through the Shawnee National Forest,
okay.
and it's
Alright.
trail, and I think the worst part's like the first 13 miles.
Okay.
So if I can get through there while it's still early in the day, not too hot yet.
I attempted one down at Land Between the Lakes.
Mhm.
Snowed like crazy the
Oh,
night
wow.
before, so it was frozen. So I mean, you're tiptoeing on this thing. Yeah, and we D it after that.
Yeah.
But
You'd be out there for 3 days.
you're tiptoeing for the
Yeah.
first 3 hours, and then the sun comes out, and then it melts all the ice and
Slides.
snow. Now it's just slush everywhere. But I'm telling you, there were 2 people. There was a man and a woman, 1 and 2, and it was loops. The second time they lapped us, I mean, they looked like deer running through there. Just reckless abandon. And I'm like, like if you fall or twist or something, and I'm an orthopedic guy, so I'm like,
Yeah.
your entire body is just gonna twist up on itself. So
Yeah.
we're like, we're good.
Well,
We got the T-shirt. We showed up. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of older now. Now I have to think. I have to think about things like, like I got work on Monday,
Right.
And like I
Yeah.
got shit to do tomorrow.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
be laid up,
That's right,
hurt.
yeah.
Like this isn't. I'm not 16 anymore. I
It's
can't
fine
be
until
getting
you
these injuries.
Blast an ankle out the side.
Yeah,
of it,
just
so,
like
yeah.
who has time for surgery in 3 months off to lose my house? You know what I mean? Like I can't be doing that stuff. I
Exactly,
gotta be a
exactly.
little smarter. So.
All because I was living this dream.
Yeah.
I know, but that risk reward.
Absolutely.
It's like one of those things.
Yeah,
Yep.
I realize I'm gonna fight that battle to the death.
Right, exactly.
You know,
brother, exactly.
just finding the right ones.
Yeah, man. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely,
dude.
Derek. Always
Appreciate
good to see you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. We will post this. We're also on YouTube and Spotify. So look forward to it, man. We have to do this again. We're going to do this a bunch.